Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Being Vulnerable. My name's Chris, aka Carpal Tunnel, and I got a very special guest for you today. Um, it is Mark, aka Mainframe. I'm gonna have him tell a little bit about himself to you.
Hi, I'm Mark. Just kidding.
Very
I
little.
I make instrumental music, uh, electronic, rock. Um, Basically, I just sit down, start playing, and whatever comes out, I hit record and build on it. Um, that's uh, that's what I do.
And what was your start in music? I know I read that you used to play music under your name, Mark Whitmore. Like, was that your
Yeah.
start?
I've been in bands for 27 years now. I Everything from blues to cover bands to metal. Um, my most popular band was a metal band. We opened up for a bunch of. You ever hear of Mushroom Head? They're kind of like Slipknot but different. Um,
I think I have.
we opened up for them, and we were playing almost every weekend. And but it just got to be too much with between work and everything, so that didn't pan out. But then I still had all the instruments, so I started recording my own stuff, and I don't sing, so I just and that's where it came from. I started off going by Mark Whitmore, which is my name, and then after that it we actually had a house fire,
Oh, damn.
and a lot of my stuff was lost, and I couldn't get the same sound. So then also I got my first mini. So that's when I went more into the electronic type stuff because I didn't have the capability to do what I was doing. And that's where Mainframe came from. Um, the name is basically a play on words with electronic music, and I always like lions, so I just figured make it work. And then plus I have a little I can put lions on stuff and make that kind of like a mascot type of thing. So
Yeah, I
uh,
thought it was a very clever name when I read that you were a computer person too.
yep.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm a big Lions fan, like the football team, but
Oh,
so I'm a Lions person. Uh,
awesome.
what what's your music videos and stuff? I Do you animate all that yourself? Because they're no.
I wish.
Okay.
It's Kyber AI.
Yeah.
Um, you basically just type in what you want it to do, and it just makes them. What stinks is they do cost money for each one. So that's why a lot of my like the videos that I make, they'll have like weird stuff. Like uh the song Data Path. For the video for that, I typed in data going through chips and wires, and it took chips to mean potato chips and French fries. So if you look close in that video, there's actually French fries going through. I left it because number one, I paid for it, and number two, I just thought it was hysterical. So
I'll definitely have to relook at that one. I, I was gonna ask if we could do a music video breakdown of one of your videos.
yeah, if you want, I mean, I do type in what I want it to
Yeah,
be, so it's not like it's just a visualization. Like,
yeah.
I mean, essentially that's what they are because it's not like a video of me playing anything. But I do like, especially the one for nobodies. That one's the one I spent the most time on. So,
Yeah, if you
but
want a music video breakdown, me and Spectre just started that kind of little channel. So,
yeah, sure.
all right, yeah,
He's an
appreciate
awesome
that.
dude.
Definitely is. He's actually become like my best friend. Me and him chat every day and play video games
That's
together.
awesome.
And yeah, we both are kind of in like remote areas from where we once lived, so we don't really have many friends around us. But
No,
we found friendship in each other through just threads, and then
that's what matters.
now we're making music together and all this stuff. It's yeah, threads has
Yeah, I met
been so good.
I met him. He just randomly messaged me the one day and said, "Hey, will you help me make a beat for a song?" And then that day, like I think it was at like 7 at night, and I at the time was sitting in a chair because I fell and messed up my leg, so I couldn't do much. So I was sitting there with my little MPK, and we knocked out 2 songs in one night. The first night that we met. So he's he's cool.
You know, it might have been the first day that we kind of really spoke. I was doing an interview for Infina and he was watching it and it was like I inspired him to go and write something and it was no, I guess I had spoke to him like a couple days before and I sent him a beat. I'm like, would you want to be on this beat? And he was like, yeah, when I get some time. And then like when he saw my interview, it inspired him to just write it and he made it in one day and it was just like
Yeah, it's
Ball
wild.
Balls did that too. I sent him like 4 beats 2 days ago, and he's already on 3 of them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's kind of cool making beats for people, huh, and seeing how they interpret it and how they what they come up on top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How did the Tina Hyde collab come about?
Um, we just message each other, and that's how all of it.
It was just all of
Like,
it.
yeah, um, through threads, and then
That's cool.
just start recording. Just
Yeah.
I'll record something, and if it sounds like somebody, I'll reach out to them and say, "Hey, do you want to use this?" And um, or somebody reaches out to me and says, "I can we work on a beat
Yeah.
or make a song?" I almost always say yeah, and I'll just go through and yeah,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's good to know too. Also, anyone watching this, if they want to collab, they just reach out to you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I made an email address collab@maneframe.net if you don't want to just comment on something. I mean, either or. So,
It's good or not. You'll probably get some comments after this, some messages. Um, are you trying to keep at anonymity with your mainframe persona?
um, I'm not sure
What I
what that
mean?
means.
Oh,
Yeah,
like not showing your face to, with your music.
yeah, yeah. Um, just my original thought with not showing my face or anything. Um, when I was releasing music as Mark Whitmore, it got like zero traction. So when I started and moved over to Mainframe, I started recording electronic music. I had a bunch of it, like I want to say about 20 songs almost done. And then that's when I made mainframe.net before I even released anything.
Yeah,
And my plan with mainframe was to take a different approach than when I was releasing music as Mark Whitmore and try to make it at least look like I'm something before I even put anything out. And I yeah, my whole thing is originally I didn't want people to know that mainframe was just one person. I my original plan was to make it seem like it's a full band and then just release the music and just stay totally behind the scenes, kind of like the Gorillas.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, then I got asked to do some podcasts, so the secret came out.
Oh, okay.
So
So you're not sharing your secret on my podcast.
sorry.
No, no, you're good. I just I would feel bad if you were still trying to keep it and
Oh no, no. I'm not wearing a mask or anything. So
I know that's what Neko's asked. You're gonna
yeah, yeah, I should have.
that I'm noticing that more and more. Like I hadn't really the only ones I knew were like Gorillas and like Sia that have done that. And but I've noticed there's a lot of Threads musicians like that. That
Yeah,
there's been multiple ones I've kind of reached out to, and they don't want to reveal themselves on the show, um, or just like they don't want anyone to know what they look like,
yeah,
and I respect that, and I just had never really come across that. I never even thought of that idea of catfish in the world, I guess.
yeah. I
Um,
The original thought process was if if I'm recording bass, drums, guitar, everything, I'm I if you look at people walking around at the mall, very seldomly do you see someone wearing a t-shirt with someone's name on it that you never heard of.
yeah,
So they're always wearing band shirts. Like you see
no,
Metallica or like you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like um so when I did the mainframe thing, that's why I tried to kind of hide behind it and make it seem like a band because more people seem to want to support a band than a single person, it seems like.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
any fact to that, but it's just something that I observed over the years doing music.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense because I do rarely see people wearing like solo musician artist shirts. Like I don't know if I even have one, which I should have a Cat Stevens one, but I don't even have that. Or like there's so many great solo musicians. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if I mean
And
Prince. Prince is like the one
yeah.
shirts that I had to have. But he was still a
And
band.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or
Yeah.
whatever, but it's just, and I'm not trying to just sell T-shirts,
Yeah.
but it was just something that I noticed before I went into re-releasing music
Yeah.
again. Um,
So um just before I go on the tangent, Carpal Tonal, how I that is the name of my band, but I don't have a band to be in
yeah, yeah.
it.
So
So,
it's the same.
and I always tell people that's the name of my band, and
Yep.
but little do they know I don't have a band with it. But I had planned like one day there's gonna be people who want to be part of my band, but all through music school and all through all that stuff, I couldn't find one person to be a part of that band. I did start for a second, started making music with another person under the name Raised Hands. Because we were the two people in class that always raised our hands and the ones that everyone hated because we'd make the class so much longer. So we always had questions. Um, but it also had like a double meaning of like raised hands, like power to the people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we never, I mean, we made like two songs, but only like acoustically, we never recorded them. Um, oh, so when you release stuff under Mark Whitmore and like you weren't getting any views and stuff, like how did that affect just like your confidence to keep pursuing music
It it was always something that I did for me.
for you?
I'm no offense to anyone, but I make the songs for me.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not trying to cater to anybody. That's why I don't have a genre. I'll go from lo-fi. I have a disco song. You know what I mean? Like, I just sit down and I just start playing. It's like um, I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't really do a lot of that. So like a lot of times people they'll come home from work and that's how they unwind. They watch TV. I unwind by making music. So that's just, and I was recording it all and not even releasing it. Like I said, when I first started Mainframe, I want to say around 20 some songs already just needed to be mixed and like I'm horrible at mixing um, and mastering and all of that. So I always, well, I mean, normally you would save that for last, but I'll do all the recording and everything, get the ideas down. And then there's times that it'll sit in a folder for weeks until I feel ready to sit down and start tackling adjusting the volumes and all of that. Um, and I had at least 20 songs at the point where they just need to be finished up um, before anything. And I forget why I said
Oh,
that.
it was something gave you the confidence to release it? Maybe?
Yeah, that's it. It was just sitting there on my hard drive. And I figured, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there because what's it going to hurt? I go through DistroKid where I only pay a monthly, yearly fee, and I can upload as many as I want for no extra cost. So just having them sit on my hard drive, I'm just going to put them out there. If people like them, awesome. If not, I mean, there's a couple mainframe songs out there that still only have 15 streams. Down there's a couple to 20, but I'm over 100 songs released on Spotify as mainframe now. So when you do the math of that, that's still cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, um, so not a lot of my songs reached that 1,000 play goal yet.
Yeah.
But another way to look at it, though, I do have listeners every week that are listening to my music either way. So I don't like I look at the numbers, but I don't at the same time because when um this whole year I released a new song every week. And I already have them scheduled out to finish till 2025.
Oh,
Where if I don't do anything until next year, every week there's going to be a new mainframe song. So um, when you're doing that many, you can't really like if I don't know how to word it. If I released one song and there was one person who listened to that song and liked that song, and they listened to it every week, that would have a ton of streams.
yeah.
But because I'm putting out multiple, I can't really like accumulate that many because everybody is checking out the new stuff, which
Yeah.
is what I like. You know what I mean? Like either way. But yeah,
Makes sense. I mean, I had the same thing where I mean I didn't put out any songs until I was on Threads. I mean August was the first time I put out actual music, joined DistroKid and actually put something on Spotify. I just never thought no one would listen to the music I had created previously. And it was just like I need to get better before I actually start releasing songs and stuff. But I think it was Infina told me just put it out. What do you just put it out.
yeah,
Make something new after that. Don't you don't have to
yeah.
try to keep editing and trying to make your one song the best song.
Well,
Just
and
learn by yeah.
yeah, and expanding on what you're saying, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Um, I every single one of my songs, if you listen to it, and this isn't me just saying it, there are mess ups in the guitar in every song. There are mess ups in the keyboard in every song. So I I leave them because I use this as my escape. I don't want to sit there and re-record the same thing 1,000 times just to get it perfect.
Yeah.
The reality of it, though, what I've noticed since I started doing that, most people don't even know that there's a mess up in every single one of my songs
Yeah.
because they don't know what you're thinking that you want it to sound like. There's a bunch of my songs, they started off as like punk songs, and then next thing you know, when they're done, they're lo-fi. Like it it just
Yeah.
just put them out there. Like I'm saying what they were saying,
Yeah.
basically. Like
And and yeah, like I learned that from playing on stage is that like most of the people coming to watch you aren't musicians, and when you make a mistake on stage, they don't know
yep,
what ended up happening to me in my story is I forgot my bridge, like vocally, like the lyrics, and I stopped and I was sitting there just like trying to think of it, and I got kind of scared, and everyone thought I was breaking down crying but really I was choking on stage. Um,
yeah.
and when after the performance, people coming up to me saying how powerful it was, and like I made them cry and all this stuff, and I did
It
tell them
worked.
I didn't want to be like, no, I had a brain fart. I paused, especially
Hey,
since
it
it was
worked.
the words I'd written. So did you ever try singing or anything?
Yeah, I I used to be in a cover band, and there were some songs that I would sing. I personally am just not a fan
Okay.
of the way that I sound. And I know that when you record yourself, you sound different than you do to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan. I've actually had people say that they like my singing. I don't know why, but but it's just not my cup of tea. So I don't really like
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I love singing so much, but I'm still not the greatest singer, and a lot of people don't like my sound just yet, but they do like my performance. I will give everything, and I'll leave everything on stage. Tears, scream, everything. That's why karaoke is so fun to do, is because no one's expecting me to just start headbanging and going crazy to System of a Down, screaming and
It's
all this like yeah.
awesome.
S- um, how long do I got you for before? No,
I, I don't know.
no. I'll just let it. For the
I
time.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't really. There's nothing going on. Everybody's still asleep.
Um,
So
so when you're doing your instrumentals and stuff, are you telling a story through it all too? Like, because I kind of felt like you were telling like Midnight Mischief was one that felt like there was a story that you were telling through it.
there's times that I'll come up with something that there's hmm, when I sit down to record, like I said, that's like my escape. There's times that I'll sit down and literally just start playing and whatever comes out. There's other times that I sit down with an idea. Midnight Mischief, I wanted to do something for Halloween. One of my favorite movies is Gremlins.
Okay.
So I had the Gremlins in my head thinking of Gizmo and stuff. And that's when that song came out. Like that was, I don't know if that answered the question,
No,
but,
no, it does.
um, and then other times I have no story. Like other times I just literally sit down and just, I mean, I guess every song's a story,
Yeah,
but I don't know what it is always. Like I'll just sit down and start playing, and I I won't have a plan or anything. It just kind of comes out.
yeah. No, yeah. Also left to interpretation to how someone else can read the story, because I definitely could tell it was just through the guitar playing, I think, and like the solo at the end, how it like built up. It felt like you. I know every music is telling a story, but like when I interviewed um Cheshire Sax, like he tries to talk with his saxophone. So like he's trying
Yeah,
to say little like sentences.
yeah.
Which yeah, I was just wondering if you had that same time.
With my guitar, I do.
Okay.
Like I don't have words in mind, but because I mostly focus on instrumentals, you still should have for an instrumental, in my opinion. Like it's not always true, but I try to always put some sort of melody in there also. So what I try to do is I'll do like electronic for the music, and then do like a rhythm guitar, and then I'll go through and use the guitar as a singer. Like that's why I use a lot of bends and stuff in my playing. Um, but I don't necessarily have words in my head when I'm playing, but I do have like the melody that the singer would be singing,
Oh
like
yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And that would probably really help someone trying to collab too, giving them the melody that creating the
Yeah, yeah.
melody for them too. Um, what
When
you
are
want
we
to
gonna
talk
make a
about?
song?
Oh, what time when?
All right. Okay. Ready?
Like I'm gonna wake up everybody, just start screaming.
Yeah.
I'm
No, whenever I'm down.
I'm down too. Yeah, always down. I have books and books and books of lyrics and just um not the greatest singer, but I have I do my training. I have my certain style of singing, but yeah,
It's awesome.
always down. Um, it's a little early. Um,
Sorry.
no, you're good. I don't know if you want to talk about the whole apologizing thing right now.
Yeah, go
Um,
for it. But
all right. I don't know why I do this, but there's probably a deeper meaning of why I do it, where I always have to apologize and I always feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I don't know if it's just the way, being brought up, always being looked at like I was a criminal, and I always had to kind of prove that I was not having bad intent behind any of my actions and stuff. So when something happens that I just like constantly apologize. Which has gotten, I mean, I gotten broken up once because I was apologizing too much. Yes, there's been multiple relationships I've been in where they just hated the fact that I kept apologizing for stuff. Um, and it's something kind of just ingrained in me. I try not to do it, but sometimes I'm apologizing for just, sorry, I didn't see your message for 5 minutes.
yeah, yeah. I actually do the same thing. Um, Everybody always laughs at like they um I normally whenever I drink, it just is nonstop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And while for no reason. Like you're saying. So I totally get where you're coming from.
I actually, when I drink, I do it less. I'm a little
See,
less, oh, it also could just be the empathy of me. I'm always like apologizing. But yeah, when I drink, I have a little less empathy. Um, a little bit more not thinking about everybody else's feelings and just kind of just enjoying myself or just trying to feel my feelings. Yeah, it's one of those things that I mean, I'm not sorry for saying sorry all the time.
yeah, yeah,
And when someone says stop apologizing, I'll just be like, I'm sorry. But
that's what
I
I
will
do.
say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Would you consider yourself a sensitive person?
I think so.
And like, can you explain a little bit about your sensitivity and just what it means for you to be sensitive?
over caring, saying sorry all the time. Um, uh, I think.
It's just that. Did you ever get, what about like bullying? Were you ever bullied in your past? And
Yep. Back in elementary school and everything, um, I I was always the nerd, but I was still friends with like this person in this group and then this person in this group, but I didn't get along with like their friend. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, did that affect you at all? Like just even
I I don't know. I never really thought about
you
it.
never really thought about it. Um, when you got into music and like heavy metal and stuff, was did that help with just because that's a different crowd than the nerd crowd usually.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like were you changing your persona
no,
when you got in those crowds?
no. It was funny because I'd show up at a metal show where the lead singer had hair down to here, covered in tattoos, and our guitar player fully shaved head, piercings, and then you have me showing up wearing a Mario T-shirt, khaki shorts. it, it was funny.
Yeah, my stage persona is I have a different Marvel shirt for right every time I'm on stage. No, just long hair and a Marvel shirt.
Yeah,
It's more acceptable now. Yeah, the like yeah, I actually never really had Marvel shirts and anything like that growing up. Just so I wasn't a target for bullying. Um, yeah, growing up in pretty kind of ghetto neighborhood, it's like you make
wow,
yourself a target when you show that you are a nerd. I was a big Pokemon fan too, so I would always have to hide playing Pokemon and stuff
wow,
to a point where during like lunch hours and stuff, we had a professor basically give all the nerds like a room to play Pokemon and just be nerdy for a little bit, so we're not out in recess area and be picked on and targeted because everyone wanted to make their friends, everyone wanted to prove themselves in that kind of neighborhood. So by doing that, by bullying and picking on someone else and doing that, they're proving that they can be, they're proving that they're popular or that I don't even know that they're strong, but
yeah,
yeah, like looking back at it now that I'm older, I'm like, they were the weak ones. I was being weak too because I wasn't being who I really was, even though I really wanted to be that person. And I still kind of was in hidden places and around people who did accept me, but that was not that much of the day I was able to be like that.
yeah,
Yeah. And I don't know why people didn't like comic books back then. Comic books, like reading those old school comic books, they were, badass.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh, and pretty adult. Not really. There's some really adult comic books. Like X-Men is actually the layers X-Men has is so adult.
yeah,
And I didn't really know at the time why I was connecting with X-Men so much and till later on when I was able to actually realize that they were talking about ostracization and being, outcasted and looked at by who you are instead of a judge for the person inside of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
With
You go ahead.
with with me, I used to love I was always video games like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, arcade. Um I was really into the superhero Marvel video games. But back then I never even read the comics. I didn't start actually reading the comics until I know I was over 21. When I actually got into. Now I have a shelf full of them, and I have them on the wall, and like now I read them all. But like you said, there's a lot in them that are adult like themes and stuff. It's not like they are for kids, but it's also like I enjoy them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. The sun just hit my face, if you could tell.
And I see that.
All shiny. It was there a reason you didn't read comics back in the past, or was it
I just never had them.
just never had
Um,
them?
I I I know I ADHD, so I when I play video games, I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
Back then, I never used to really read anything except for GamePro and Nintendo Power magazines, um, which again, video games.
I
But
remember Game Pro.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I have ADD too, and like reading. I'm someone who writes, but I don't read. And I've been told by a lot of professors and stuff that like I have to read to be a writer. It's not always the case, I found out, but
it's
it's
not.
yeah. And comic books, I didn't really have to read them to see the stories. I was able to like see the picture of it and just go through it like that. And then I would go back through and kind of read some of it. But it was more about visually seeing the stories and yeah,
Yeah,
video games were a big part of keeping me entertained, especially through middle school and high school where everyone people it was like time where people were getting into trouble and stuff. But I would like a new game would come out, I'd rather be at home on the weekend playing
yeah,
Grand Theft Auto just came out and or
yeah,
whatever game it was. Or Pokemon games. I just playing those on Game Boy and stuff. Because because with that ADD brain, if I wasn't focused on something, I'd be doing stupid stuff.
yeah,
But sports was the other thing that I was able to kind of hone in and focus on because it was a game too, like
yeah.
just games in general. How's your ADD going as an adult?
I actually have. I wasn't officially diagnosed with it until 3 years ago. Not even.
Okay.
So it is new. um, but I also have heart issues,
Uh-oh.
so I can't take any of the meds because they don't play nice.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah.
No,
So, oh, go ahead.
I'll just say I understand that. I'm on Adderall and my heart beats too fast all the time.
Yeah. With me, it does basically the same thing. Do you know what AFib is?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Um, Basically, your heart,
Yeah.
and then it all does that with electricity. So there's times when like another vein or something will go up against it, and it'll mess it up. So instead of this, it'll go.
Oh, yeah.
That's what mine does. I actually had a procedure where they went in and burned part of it to hopefully stop it. The problem with what it does is it makes it more uh, more at risk for strokes and stuff. So it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is the reason I can't have the ADHD meds or anything is I the this past Thursday, I actually had an allergic reaction to something. We don't know what. I was in the hospital,
Yeah.
and they gave me an EpiPen, and because of the adrenaline from it, it made the AFib come back.
Oh,
So it's that's a real life example as to why I can't have the
yeah.
other stuff. So
And you since you just got diagnosed with stuff, I could see how you could probably you've learned how to function without
Yeah,
the medicine.
yeah,
Um, Sorry to hear that happened to you, man. I'm glad you're not in the hospital, that you're doing a little better.
yeah. It's like I said, everything's just crazy.
Yeah.
um, so
Yeah, just even so like like long physical activity or stuff like that, you probably can't even do too either. Huh?
nope, nope.
So are you ever gonna be performing on stage again?
Yeah, I,
Yeah?
I, I could do that.
Okay.
I just need to figure out how because right now I can't go there and play bass, guitar, drums, keyboard all at the same time.
Yeah.
but
Just
but now,
be a DJ. Just
yeah,
keep mixing your stuff.
yeah.
Um,
But no, I do. I lift weights and stuff.
okay.
I have a elliptical that I go on. I try to go every day. So it's not like I'm fully restricted. I just lose my breath fast. So
Oh, I was like, am I never gonna see Mainframe on stage? Oh,
I
no.
mean, it might happen.
Well, I hope
Before that,
not.
though, I need to get a lion suit.
Just you could get him from the Detroit Lions
Yes, the mascot.
mascot, even though he might not look as cool as your lion does. Or you could try to borrow one from the Lion King off Broadway.
Yeah, yeah.
Except that when your face comes out of it, so it's not an actual.
It's all right. I got some fur. That's another reason why I went with mainframe. When my daughter, it just stuck with me. It's a memory. Um, it just cracked me up because out of the blue, the one day when she was young, I had longer hair, and this, and she looked at me. She's like, "You're like a lion with a mane." So that was another. It just cracked me up.
It all just fit together.
Yeah, yeah. Um, just advice for everyone. Um, I mentioned I had a house fire. Take 5 minutes and take your phone on your camera, your camera on your phone, and just do a video of everything in your house. Because afterwards, we had to prove to the insurance company what we had. Otherwise, we wouldn't get paid back for it. So I had to spend months going through old photos that were saved on my OneDrive and looking in the background to try to find items to put on the list for the insurance company. Whereas if I had like a video, it would take like 5 minutes. I mean, hopefully nobody ever needs it, but it's just something I always try to tell everyone every chance I get because it would have saved me a lot of time and headache. Because at that time, that's the last thing you want to be doing
Yeah.
is looking through old photos of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Something similar happened to us when our house got broke into and like robbed, and they were only gonna give us like a certain amount of this money back for the stuff that were robbed because we couldn't prove that they stole like 30 PlayStation 2 games, all this stuff. Like there was
Yeah,
just the little amount that they would give us back. Um,
yeah,
Also like we couldn't prove because we didn't know what type of stereo system we had and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, so we had no like actual evidence to that we had a nice stereo system. Yeah, just stuff like so that is really good advice.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's one thing that I know it has nothing to do with music or anything,
yeah.
but it's something that I always try to get out there. Also, Red Cross. Um, One of the firemen told us the day of the fire to call Red Cross. They came over, no questions asked. I mean, they obviously saw the house, so there wasn't many questions to ask. But They gave us over $1,000 cash that we didn't need to give back. They gave us washcloths, soap, stuff that you don't realize are gone that you would need. Um, I'm always going to start um, donating to them when I can because they really did help us when we needed it. So, but that's another thing that you don't think of. If that fireman wouldn't have told us that, we wouldn't have thought to call them because the last thing that you're thinking of is like you're normally thinking of where you're going to sleep. You're not going to think about soap or toothbrushes, and so that was something else that I think is good info for people.
And another thing too, I learned this from just a professor that this happened to was um he had a house fire and his hard drive with all of his it was his films on it got burnt and lost.
Oh,
Um so like his whole advice was you know back it up on a separate hard drive and then give it to any of your friends or someone and just have them
yeah,
because the cloud is not going to always be, or cloud might not be able to hold a terabyte of
yeah.
film footage, or you never know.
It's a good. It's yeah. Um, I just dumb luck the ukulele EP that I released as Mainframe. I actually recorded that before the fire, and just dumb luck, I found those on my OneDrive.
Oh,
Because the computer that I used that got destroyed.
yeah,
So it's cool that I was able to find them and then release them. But
yeah.
same thing though. Like if I had it every because there was a lot of stuff that was on that computer that are it's just gone.
Did you lose any guitars or anything? Like
At the
any?
time, I had 9 guitars. The ones that survived the fire is this one and those two.
Oh,
The bass is new because my bass didn't make it. Um, a really small part of me wishes that the fender here got a little bit of burn damage just so it looked like relic, like, but it still works fine. Um, and That's my mom and my fiance bought me. Um, yeah, I showed up
that's
to pick her up, and there she was with a freaking Martin.
yeah,
No,
that's cool.
but
Yeah, that's I can't even imagine. I always well I've always had the thought of like when what do I grab when a fire happens? And it's always been my PlayStation and my dog. But now that I've got a guitar, because I haven't had that thought in a while, but I might have to
when the
grab my
fire
guitar. Yeah.
with mine, I ran I ran in about 5 times in and out. Um, and then the last time I ran out, the flames were over 5 feet out the window. And the only reason I even looked up is because a little piece landed on my arm of like the ash and it burned me and I'm like, whoa. And then I looked up and saw the flames. And at that point I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm done. But I grabbed when I was 14, my dad passed away and he used to paint. So I grabbed all of his paintings, took them out. Um, right before the fire, my grandfather passed away, and he had paintings at his house that um, just remind me of being a kid and being there. So when he passed away, I got them. So I ran in, grabbed them, took them out. It in last, I mean, the ADD helps with that because they say that in like times of crisis like that, you can think clear and like just and I think that's what really happened. Why
Yeah.
I was able to distinguish so fast to grab those, and then, but I grabbed most of the stuff that couldn't
You-
be replaced. My dad used to also play guitar, and I got his guitar out also. So
yeah,
it just all worked
the
out,
the
kind
stuff
of.
that yeah, the stuff that can't be replaced. I mean, this is when I said I'd grab my PlayStation. That was back when I was a kid. But yeah, I guess the irreplaceable things. I'm glad you told me that too, because I do have stuff for my grandparents and stuff that stuff that came from Cuba, stuff that came from Scotland. Oh, yeah, those things I would be sad if I did lose them. Also, like my grandfather's uh war stuff from World War II.
Yep, I
Um,
have some of that as well.
yeah, that stuff. It's
Um,
it's good that it's good to think about, just to knock on
that
wood.
stuff
But
though, I didn't think it was all the way up in the attic,
um,
so I didn't get to grab that. But just dumb luck, it was in a closet that was metal, and afterwards we were able to get up there, and everything else in the attic was destroyed except for what was in that closet. So I was able to get his World War II stuff. So it worked out. I mean,
yeah,
it didn't work out, but it worked out.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, I'm glad no one was hurt in the fire, right? So
no,
okay,
no.
I'm glad no one was hurt.
I was on my way home from work, and my fiance called me, and I just assumed she was gonna say like, "Hey, I see you," because I was literally right down the road. And I picked up, and she just yells, "The house is on fire!" So I just gunned it, went home, and just started running in, made sure everybody was out, made sure I saw my neighbors outside because it was a half a double. And once I was sure that every person was outside, that's when I did my running in and out. The fire started on my neighbor's side, and
Oh,
we still don't know what caused it, but we're still friends with the neighbor. They come visit at the new place still. So it was no, like, I know as a fact it wasn't intentional or anything, or
did,
but
did you have any hesitation running into a burning building?
I didn't think.
I think yeah.
Um, I when I first walked in the room, walked in, um, I saw smoke pouring out the bottom of our cellar door. So the I want to say 2 or 3 days beforehand, our basement used to flood at that house. So I set up a pump with a pipe that goes out a window, so that way when it gets water in it, it automatically turns on and automatically starts pumping it. So that way there's no. Now I can fix computers, but when it comes to that type of stuff, I don't. I just wing it.
Yeah.
So my first thought was I messed that up, and because of water, it shorted and it was just smoking, or that itself caught on fire. So the basement was full of smoke, but I ran down with hopes of it just being that, unplugged it. I didn't see any flames, but I just saw the smoke. So then the next thing, it was an old house. I ran over, hit the circuit breaker, ran back upstairs, and at that point the smoke didn't stop. So that's when I started just running stuff outside. And it didn't even, I didn't even think, like, the whole time. Like, first it was, well, actually, no, the first thing I did was run down the basement. And then I ran upstairs and made sure everybody was out. And I made sure I saw my neighbors outside. And then I ran in, grabbed the paintings and everything.
Yeah,
But
I always believe I would have the courage to do it. Um, Even if it's not my house, if I saw, going in. I would always think I do, but I don't know what I would do in that situation. But I like to believe I would
My
do it.
it was warm, like I could feel the heat, but on my side, I didn't see flames or anything. It was just smoke. So that I think once I saw the flames, that's when I was like, no, I'm done.
I guess yeah, when I do get adrenaline, I do go into that. And it did make me really good at sports with my ADD, is because I'd get the adrenaline and I'd be able to like not think about what I was doing, really, just do it.
I still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really good with basketball with that because I wouldn't have to think, oh, I have to cross here and do this and spin, and then I would just be doing it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
how long did it take just to get your life back together after that?
Um, I want to say probably a year and a
A
half
year?
until we were in an actual house. This one, um, and then even then, like there's times where you'll go to cook something and realize you don't have a spatula
Oh,
because you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's just weird the stuff that you don't think, but with family and friends and um, it, they I wouldn't have made it without them. Um, we started a GoFundMe, my sister did, and every single time somebody donated, I would just start bawling because I'm used to trying to be the one to help everyone the best that I can.
yeah,
I don't accept help well, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So, but yeah, it gives you a new little bit of more faith in humanity,
yeah,
like the way I saw everyone come together. And with social media now, I was getting phone calls before the fire trucks even showed up because one of my other neighbors apparently posted it on Facebook, and then my friends saw it, and they're all calling me before there's even fire trucks there. Like it's just a crazy world we live
yeah,
in.
yeah. That was a crazy story.
But yeah,
Oh, well, right. Thank you for sharing all that too. It's good.
oh,
Um,
no problem.
let everyone know what's coming up next for you.
Um, I like I said, I have songs scheduled until 2025. Where if I don't do anything at all, every Monday there's going to be a new song. Um, most of them are kind of video game sounding. Um, I just had fun doing it, so I figured, like I said, I just sit down and I play. I don't. Um, another thing, I'm working on a collab with Brendan from Gloryfell. I think that's probably the coolest thing that I'm working on right now. Um, it it shows that if you bug somebody enough, they just might do what you want. um, no, he actually wrote a guitar piece that wouldn't really fit in with their style, so I'm adding to it and making it Maneframe featuring Brendan from Gloryfell. I'm excited.
People heard it first here, right?
Yep, for sure.
It's cool. I,
And I checked with him first. He said it's okay.
I I got a special one I haven't announced yet. Is I made a beat for Sly to get on. So Sly is
That's awesome.
he's gonna scream on one of my beats.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that
Those guys are doing so much.
I know. And then I get to say that I made a song with someone who made a song with Eminem.
There you go.
That's like the best brag I could ever have. So I guess just pitch yourself, your just your handles.
um, Everything's at www.mainframe.net. It has music videos, it has merch, it has links to everything, all the different platforms. There's also a playlist page on there where it's there's a form and you can submit your song, and if it fits in with where you want it to go, I'll put it on that playlist, and hopefully more people follow the playlist and stream it. And otherwise, it doesn't really mean anything to be on the playlist. um, but that's something I was trying to do to help out everyone, myself included. Because when you go to I don't even know the names of them anymore, but the places where you can submit your songs to playlists, there's so many times you get rejected for stupid stuff. And so I decided to just make playlists of all the different genres I could think of. So that way you can at least get on something that other people are listening to. And all that's on mainframe.net also. Also, I'm working on converting all of those playlists to be across platforms instead of just Spotify. I'm trying to make it so that um, it'll be on Apple Music and Amazon. And
All right. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today, man.
oh,
This
no problem.
hopefully this was fun for you too. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's good getting to know you, and yeah, I really appreciate you. Um,
Oh, you too.
yeah,
And just reach out and we'll make a song.
I mean, I'm excited for that now.
um,
I'll have to
and
reach out with a good idea for you.
um, another thing, just shoot the shot, everyone. Um, I I messaged Chad from Breaking Benjamin, and I made a song with him. Like, you just do
Just,
it. What's the worst? They're gonna say no. You know what I mean? But that's
yeah,
nobody's. The one that I did with him. I didn't even expect him to reply. I just sent it because once you send it, it's done. So if there's ever anyone that you want to do a collab with, or anyone, just try.
just try. I mean, it's good advice, definitely. And that's cool that you got the guy from Break a Benjamin. That's really
Yeah, I didn't expect him to even reply. I sent him a thing saying, "Hey, I'm a nobody, but I'd like to do a song with you if you want to do a collab." But no, and he replied within an hour and was like, "Yeah, sure, send me over the song." I'm like, "What?"
that's cool. That's cool.
He's a really cool dude. He actually just released a video on Drumeo, giving drum lessons for free. If anybody wants to go check out.
Well, thank you everyone for joining Being Vulnerable, with special guest Mainframe. And this was a great episode too. And we'll see you next time on Being Vulnerable.